By God's grace, I'm gradually responding to treatment. Just that my legs, I'm going through some kind of excruciating pain. But by God's grace and people's prayers, I'm recuperating.
And you are here in service of God and country.
Okay.
As I stated last week, I am saying that my position on the NDC's manifesto is that it lays the ground for corrupt acts, evil acts that are going to go on over the next 4 years. And I'm going to tell you one of the reasons why I hold that position. Now, I hold in my hand the NDC manifesto for the 2012 elections. Now, I'm just going to quickly refer to page 44 before we even go to that discussion. Page 44 under something called the SADA Afforestation and Under-Investment Programs. You may want to listen to me carefully on this one. That SADA Afforestation Program will entail the planting of 5 million seedlings of assorted trees in the northern Savannah zone over the next 5 years. In addition to these, SADA has initiated a guinea fowl investment project in partnership with the private sector operators to support 2,000 rural producer groups, mostly women, to produce and process about 200,000 birds for the market every year. Now, you see, what's interesting here is that last year they already started the SADA tree planting project. 97% of the trees, first of all, cannot be accounted for. And they spent reportedly 37 million Ghana cedis on that, unaccounted for. They say they're going to do the same thing over the next 5 years. Is that not corruption? The second side of it is that this guinea fowl project, as has turned out to be a huge scam, is also going to be perpetuated in their own manifesto. In the coming weeks, I'll be revealing to you how government plans to spend your money in buying oil stakes and then later offloading it to private investors. And bear in mind the fact that when they say private sectors, you must remember two names, two major companies in Ghana. But today, we're going back to the issues of drugs. Remember that this is within the context that the managing director, the CEO of Soin Security, the company in charge of private security at Kotoka International Airport and other airports in Ghana, has been arrested in the United States of America. Just today, another Ghanaian has been convicted for 18 years. His charge was that he was smuggling drugs into the United States of America. Again, I'll go back to the NDC manifesto and read to you what it is that they sought to tell us in this country, that they, over the last 4 years, have managed to reduce the smuggling of narcotic drugs in this country. If you turn with me to page 66, they said that in the past 4 years, the Narcotic Control Board has ensured that Ghana does not become a subsidiary of drug cartels as promised in our 2008 manifesto. That patently is a lie, and this is why. If you take a look at this, there's a collection of newspaper publications of various drug scandals that have occurred within the last 4 years. And you might just want to take a look. You see, drug barons in Ghana, says U.S. envoy. This is August 23rd, 2012. Daily Guide publication. Look at the Daily Searchlight. Doing Cocaine in Politics, Part 2. NDC did drugs, says Kwesi Pratt in 1996. And this was Tuesday edition, June 24, 2008. Now, let's look at Daily Dispatch, which is one of the papers in their own stable. Ghana's battle with narcotics, a tale from the U.S. government. This also has to do with the NDC. You see, drug baron busted in Mecca. This was again Monday, October 15, 2012. You look again, Ghana weed seized in the UK, September 28, 2012. You might again want to take a look at how $8.6 million worth of weed left Kotoka blow-by-blow account. This also happened right here. And then the biggest cannabis haul from Ghana seized at the Heathrow Airport, among a host of others that happened. But despite all of these allegations, the NDC government still wanted us to believe that nothing had happened under their watch. Now, let's come to Mr. Adomakubeki. Looking at all of these things and the story that the NDC government managed to tell Ghanaians, what does that make you of NDC credibility and drugs?
Let me seize the opportunity to also greet our respectable viewers this evening. As I've already indicated or made it known to you that but for the interest and the decision we've taken to help our country, I don't think I'll have been able to make it this evening because I'm not that. But once you've come, you are going to do just that. And based upon your request, we are not going to really disappoint you at all. Yes, I begin with one Abraham Lincoln once said that you may deceive all the people part of the time and part of the people all the time, but not all the people all the time. So from the onset, NDC really twisted the information and really went about telling people that, in fact, they were clean or even cleaner, more Christian than Christ himself. And for that matter, they were just throwing dust into people's eyes. But as the Bible says that you may know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Actually, I should have even forgotten or left what happened in 1980, in the 90s and 2000. But for the sake of the posterity, for the sake of the youth of today, we need to dive into what really happened yesterday, so that we also take stock of what is happening today, so that we may have the wider insight into what is really ahead of us. Anything that falls short of that, if we decide to really center our discussion solely on today, then I'm afraid we are not doing the youth of today any good. On that note, I'm asking you for permission to do that.
No problem.
You see, drug issue and its debilitating effect is said that no wise person in this country or elsewhere should have taken drug issues into politics. And for that matter, MPP, we were wide awake and were very, very tactful in 2000 election. You see, this is just by the way. I'm doing a research on depression and suicide. And one of the findings is that depression, about 5% of them are drug addicts. And it may interest you to know that out of my findings, daily, every day in Ghana, 5 people commit suicide. And one of the causes is about this drug addiction or drug addicted people. And for that matter, we were very careful. In 2000, when we were doing campaign, we had a whole lot of things. But we decided that no, we should approach the thing holistically. But let's get to 2000. I'm quoting from page 34 of the NDC's own manifesto and what they said. And I read, page 34 of the Better Ghana manifesto.
2008, you mean?
2008, the Better Ghana. Fighting narcotic trafficking. Listen, how reckless and irresponsible they were. Ghana under the MPP government has gained notoriety not only as a transit country for the narcotics trade, but also as a country in which substance abuse, especially among the youth, is rising in prevalence. Ghana under MPP, they had forgotten about their tainted past.
No, hold on, but even before you go on, at that same moment in the year 2008, when the NDC was saying that Ghana had become a transit point,
yes,
this was the testimony of international agencies. Now, if the camera can zoom in, it says, drug barons now scared of Ghana. And I want you to see the exact publications. Ghanaian Times, Saturday, September 20, 2008. Exactly. I don't know if the camera can adequately capture that. This portion here. Drug barons now scared of Ghana. And so I want you to repeat that portion you just read. The NDC, what they tried to do.
Ghana under the MPP government has gained notoriety not only as a transit country for the narcotics trade, but also as a country in which substance abuse, especially among the youth, is rising in prevalence.
Okay. Now this is what the
European
Union had to say, and I'm reading the story.
Yes.
Drug traffickers are now avoiding the use of Ghana as a transit point. Fernando Vaz Ventura, leader of the European Union Security Delegation, has said.
Yes.
So the truth was there. They chose to lie to the people of Ghana.
So it re-echoes what is stated in the good book, John 8:32, that, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So that was the testimony that was given to Ghana under MPP. We are going to dive into the testimony that the Well Report said about NDC. But before then, let me finish with this. He said that there is something interesting over here. The current efforts directed at dealing with the drug menace are inadequate and pitiable because of institutional corruption and the apparent collaboration of people in powerful positions in the ruling MPP and government. That was what they said.
Can you repeat that?
What they said was that, and I repeat, current efforts directed at dealing with the drug menace
are inadequate and pitiable because of institutional corruption and the apparent collaboration of people in powerful positions in the ruling MPP and government. They has increased the confidence of drug barons using Ghana for their dirty and deadly narcotics business. The numerous probes into narcotic trafficking, including administrative inquiry chaired by the current Chief Justice, have yielded little by way of results. And in their manifesto, if you read, still under P34, they went to the extent of of saying that even the MV Benjamin case, we left it. I have this document. Yeah. Just.
And then if the camera
before you show this one, just get to the date.
Okay, the date is Saturday, July 26, 2008.
Let the cameraman zoom that portion before you read
26, 2008. Now, you can take a look at this.
Yeah.
This is the publication dates, and then I'll show you the headline very soon. Yeah, that's the publication date right there. Saturday, July 28, 2008. And this is the headline. Five jailed, 125 years, and this was in connection to the MV Benjamin case. The writer is Mabel Aku-Banese, who is still working for Daily Graphic anyway. You can do your checks.
So for the sake of the listeners, one, we have this information out there that before we left, that was August 20th, 2008, the European Union gave the testimony that drug barons were scared of Ghana.
September 20th.
September 20th. That they were scared of Ghana. And in addition, the MV Benjamin case that these people twisted it. The people, the five of them were jailed. Now let's continue. Let's look at the legacy that was given to us. At the launch of World's Drug Day in 1995, Mr. K. Bonfo, Deputy Minister of Interior at then, may he rest in peace. What he said of that, there had been increases of 200 to 7,000 regarding narcotic drugs between the last quarter of the last 4 years of 1994 and the first quarter of 1985. That was what he said. He was a member of the NDC, and he was no mean a person. He was a minister, a deputy minister, of course. Then again, Professor Patrick Addy, who was also a deputy minister of youth and sports. He was deputizing E.T. Mensah. What he said, and it was even captured in the Ghanaian Chronicle, 30th November 1999. What he said was that Ghana has become number one among African countries in narcotic drug trafficking. NDC ministers admitted that. Now the U.S. government report, let us listen to what they also say. Ghana is increasingly becoming a transit point for illegal drugs, particularly cocaine and heroin from South America, Southeast and South Asia. That was what they say. That was what they say. And then in 1999, August 30th, Daily Graphic captured the following. That nearly 300 drug cases sent to the court in the past 5 years came to naught as the principal suspect either jumped bail or were set free. All these things happened under NDC. Derrick John Rawlings, Professor Mills, John Mama, and all the people who are ruling today. In 1999 alone, Daily Graphic, no mean a people, carried this story that 300 cases that were sent over there, they were set free. Yet in the face of that, out of shame, these people could still master carried to say that we were rather drug addicts. You recall, Fifi Kwete and those people, they just went out and then polluted the system, and eventually when they appeared before the vetting committee, they had no other alternative than to eat the humble pie. We thought reason had prevailed. When Obama came, you recall, what they said, oh, because Kwaku and Yudo and those people, what they said, oh, because this time they had been able to pay the system of cocaine. That was why Obama was coming. No sooner had he said that, I'm going to give you the subsequent under Mills' administration, Mills' Mama administration. And then I end with what has really happened just last week. That was what happened. You see, with all these things, you recall that one of the NDC's diplomats, Benny, was arrested in Switzerland. And there are so many publications about that. There are so many publications, including our uncle Kwesi Pratt. In his paper, The Weekly Insight of September 4 to 10, 1986 carried a story captioned Kwesi Pratt calls for a probe. Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., managing editor of the Weekly Insight, has called for the immediate establishment of an independent commission of inquiry to probe all cases of the involvement of the Rawlings regime and its agencies in the exportation of narcotic drugs. So no wonder that is happening today.
They have a track record.
A chip of the old block. They are repeating what they were doing. And I'm not saying that. And everybody knows Kwesi Pratt's position. Of course. Why his allegiance or his loyalty lies. Now he said the guarded silence of the government over such serious allegations of Nana Kunadu Ajma Rawlings, the former first lady, and the BNI's involvement raised serious doubt about its innocence. That was what Kwesi Pratt said.
Wow.
That was what Kwesi Pratt said. Then again, the Weekly Insight of August 28 to September 3rd, 1986, carried a story with a banner headline, Names Behind the Big Drug Scandal, as the Crown Court in Chelmsford examined the evidence brought before it in the trial of 4 persons accused of exporting about £60 million worth of marijuana into the UK. Its focus has now been shifted to which top-level Ghanaian officials have been behind the ordeal, have been behind the deal. Opening his defense at the court presided over by Judge B.P. Person, Mr. Van der Laan alleged that the deal was first suggested to him by one Mr. Chachu, a top Ghanaian official who is very close to the president, saying monies accrued from the deal will help finance his party's electioneering campaign.
That's very interesting.
I'm telling you, my brother.
I would want to take a look at it again, and I'll read
a whole lot of time, but for time,
okay.
You should have given a whole lot of information.
Now, let me read this portion again.
Just read
Weekly Insight of August 28 to September 3, 1996, carried a story with the banner headline, Names Behind the Big Drug Scandal. As a Crown Court in Chelmsford...
And who carried the story? Lest I forget.
It was
Uncle Pratt. Kwesi Pratt. And of course, everybody knows Kwesi Pratt.
As a Crown Court in Chelmsford examines the evidence brought before it in the trial of 4 persons accused of exporting about £60 million worth of marijuana into the UK, its focus has now been shifted to which top-level Ghanaian officials could have been behind the deal. Opening his defense, the accused at the court, presided over by Judge B.P. Pearson, Mr. Van der Laan, alleged that the deal was first suggested to him by one Mr. Chachu, a top Ghanaian official who is very close to the president, saying monies accrued from the deal will help finance his party's electioneering campaign. Wow.
I hope Ghanaians are listening. And the youth of this country are also listening.
The other thing is that Weekly Insight of August 21st to 27, 1996 carried another story with the headline, Another Drug Scandal, BNI Involved.
So many of them. So many of them.
The timely action of drug enforcement officers in the United Kingdom has scattered an attempt by 5 persons to export £60 million of marijuana to Chelmsford, which lies in the southwest of London. 4 persons, one of whom claimed to be acting for Ghana's BNI, have been grabbed and placed before the Crown Court at Chelmsford. They are Jacon, Vandeleur Theodorus, Corner Deepak, and Omer G. Interesting names and interesting revelations.
So many of them. So many of them. What the Free Press said, so many of them. You understand? So many of them. So my beef is that if you compromise history, then we are not doing the youth of today any good. That is why we are going through all these things, so that when the NDC people are talking, they will know where they are coming from. And interestingly, one key or clue I've really drawn or realized from the NDC is that when they ask that they are going the left way, if you are not careful, it means they are going the right way. So anytime that these people are shouting, it means they are the culprits.
Yeah.
They are rather the culprits. Now, when MPP came in 2000, so no wonder that in 1999, that was the report that was given about Ghana by the U.S. and was also admitted by no mean person than the NDC's own deputy ministers. K. Bonful in 1995 and Patrick Addy in 1999, that really Ghana had become drug transit point. But MPP said no. when one finger brings oil, it dirties all the rest. So you need to be very calculative and very circumspect in our dealings approach towards that. But these people threw question to the wind. They threw question to the wind. Oh, Amwating, all these things. Yes, we admit, Amwating was a member of MPP, no doubt. But then if you look at the organs of government, he was part of parliament, part of the legislatures, isn't it? Yeah. He was part of them. He wasn't directly under the executive. Unlike Francis Bennett, who was part of it. There was even a story that somewhere in the 90s, when our first lady got to the United States, they had to search her.
But that was an allegation.
She was searched.
Yeah.
It wasn't an allegation. She was searched.
Okay.
Why is it that our first lady will be searched? Because the picture that Ghana had portrayed to the outside world wasn't anything to write home about.
And it was a very unfortunate event.
It was rather unfortunate. It was rather unfortunate. Yet in the face of that, the same people of today, when they are talking about corruption, we have serialized everything about corruption right from Rollins's time to today. About serial killing, about murder, anything that these people raise an alarm, we have ever prepared. And for God and country, we pray that we get longer life. And we also recover from our sickness in no time. We are going to give a lot. Now let's continue. So you see, when MPP came in 2000, between 2001 and 2002, about 400 people were arrested.
And all of these were made public.
Yes. And CCTV cameras were also sent to Kotoka International Airport. In addition, we also collaborated with the Operation Westbridge, UK. They came to our aid. No wonder that in September 20th, 2008, the testimony that was given about Ghana was that drug barons now scared. Up to the time we were living, who burned up? Nobody even had the nerve to even venture that place with cocaine. That was the legacy we left over there. So we thought, after laying this sound foundation, enviable foundation, these people were going to build upon. Not knowing, when they came, they said, oh, you people, you don't know. We are going to make it worse. Now let's get back to Menace's administration. I have all these things there. They came. You recall the story of when some of the people who were also jailed were Tagore and Alhaji Abbas.
Yeah.
When NDC came, less than 2 months, these people were discharged. And then somewhere in July, the Attorney General Aden, Petimo Drusu, came out and said, no, they were going to really file an application and that they were advising themselves. To date, we have not heard anything of the sort.
See, the interesting thing as well is that it's important we place on record that Tagore used to attend the same parties as the president today.
Yeah.
We have evidence of that in various social magazines where he was attending parties with the president, John Mahama, today.
Now, when NDC came, I have these pieces of information. This one, the source, Washington Times. Ghanaian drug trafficking ring busted in U.S. Now, 8 members of an alleged international heroin ring have been charged, and 7 have been arrested after investigation conducted by law enforcement in the United States and Ghana. Drug Enforcement Administration officer said yesterday the ring allegedly moved 250,000 pounds through Dallas International Airport from September 10th to September 11th.
And what's the date on that?
The date was Friday, 15 July 2011.
Okay.
That was what happened under NDC. After they had even made a provision in their manifesto and had accused MPP, we thought they were going to do better, not knowing we were rather going to regress or even going to make the situation worse. And we have a lot of names out there, my brother. A lot of names over there.
Including a former deputy minister.
We have a lot of names. Including. Now.
Hold on to that.
Yes.
Hold on to that.
I'm holding on to that, my brother. I'm holding on to that.
Okay.
Now, this one also. Source, cannabis worth 10 million seized at UK port. Updated on 30th January 2009. When NDC came, no sooner had they come. Listen, cannabis worth 10 million has been seized in one of the biggest hauls intercepted in the UK. Customs officials have said. It passed through Kotoka International Airport.
Under the banishment of so insecurity.
Yes, where were the lives of Akresi Sapon and those people? Where were the lives of Akresi Sapon and those people? Now, get to this. Daily Guide, Tuesday, October 5th, 2010. NDC boys busted over cocaine in Takoradi. 2 of the NDC guys were arrested. They were arrested. And interestingly, the woman organizer over there went to the police station and made sure that...
Are we talking about Arabatego?
Yes, Arabatego. The story is here.
Okay, yeah.
The story is there.
Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. But you see, what we are doing here on Minority Caucus tonight is laying the ground foundation for you to understand exactly the extent of the drug menace. Now, there's enough records to suggest that whenever an NDC government is in power, the drug trade booms. Now, as we have shown you creditably, when the MPP was about to leave office, this was the testimony of the international agencies. The drug barons were scared of Ghana. And we can provide proof of everything that we are seeing. Tonight, we are doing an interrogation of not just, things that people have said, but we are showing you the facts as they are. We are proving everything that we are saying to you. We'll go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue with this fact. Okay, welcome back. Now, you see, it's alleged that the President of the Republic then, the late Professor John Evans Atta Mills, once made a statement that he had misgivings about some of his aides. I'm going to read to you a very important expose. The WikiLeaks report showed that the President of Ghana, Professor John Evans Atta Mills, had second thoughts and misgivings about the modus operandi of some of his aides. One of them was recently involved in the trafficking of cocaine, which resulted in his courier being arrested in Manila, Philippines. His name has been mentioned and passed on to Ghanaian security agencies. Such is the scandalous nature of this case that the president has been pressured to take action. Again, I'll read to you that despite explanations sought from the Ghanaian government and the security agencies from the British authorities, nobody was forthcoming. The individual who was arrested is alleged to be a close confidant of one Mr. Nilante van der Poy, special aide to the President of Ghana and the President Mills, and he is now an MP for the you believe. And I'll read this portion again. That despite explanations sought from the Ghanaian government and the security agencies from the British authorities, nobody was forthcoming. The individual who was arrested is alleged to be a close confidant of one Mr. Nilante van der Poy. I think he's a deputy minister under this current under this current administration. Special assistant to the President of Ghana, President Mills. Such was the level of allegations that came up. And again, July 22, 2008, July 22, 2009, cocaine booms at Whole Market. We have a lot of these stories. Actually, cocaine booms at Aflao is also there. We have drug trafficking through Africa on the increase, among a host of other things. Now, the points that we're making to you here is that we can actually prove all of these things. They are factual. This is not just us sitting here talking about things we believe to be true. We are showing you what the proof is. From today, if anybody comes to tell you anything, ask him for his proof. And let's see who really is telling the truth. Back to you, Mr. Adomakobefi.
All right. You see, one interesting thing that happened, that was 28th April 2010, when 10 people were arrested at JFK with drugs. What Cressy Sapon, the Narcotic Control Board, the excuse he gave was that the Delta airline didn't allow him to search the aeroplane because it was alleged that it was the Delta airline that carried the 10 people. And I can tell you, my brother, with all authority, just that these people were allegedly saying that we had these Joro women. To date, they have not been even to mention just a name. MPP Joro women. Where were they? But at least we know that the 10 people who were carried from Ghana to that place, most of them were all NDC people. They were all NDC people. And Cressy Sapon came. Let me read. The Executive Secretary of Narcotic, NACO, Yao Cressy Sapon, who spoke to the Times, Ghanaian Times, and I read, the date was 28th April 2010. What he said was that the Executive Secretary of NACO, Yao Cressy Sapon, who spoke to the Times in Accra on Tuesday on the arrest, blamed officials of the Bill Security Services, a U.S. security agency that provides in-flight security, for allegedly preventing narco officials at the Caucus International Airport from conducting a search on the passengers as well as their luggage. If really this government was bent on really getting rid of drug-related issues or the narcotic trafficking, from that very day, they should have given him the boot. But they didn't do anything. And it got to a time when 8 people were also arrested, and we were talking about, do you know what Bevrolate said? Bevrolate said, Akresisapon said no. Yeah, he was considering resigning. What Bevrolate said no, he would never allow him to resign because what he had done was enough. Not knowing birds of a feather. They fly together. You go to Nakop, I'm here. Let us bring somebody to facilitate the business. The other time, you remember, I brought this book, Death and Pain, Rollins Ghana by Michael Jane. Everything is there. Even the very person who is the head of NACO, Akresisapon, sometime was alleged. He was arrested. He was carrying 2 bags. And what he was doing was that one of the bags was carrying a tag. The other one didn't carry any tag. So whenever he went there, he arrived, and then nobody was watching him. He'll be taking the one without any tag. And then when he was arrested, we just said, oh, mine is there. This one is rather a mistake. He had been doing it repeatedly until one day, these people realized, no, this guy, he's smart. He's always pulling some kind of woos over our eyes. So they arrested him. All these things are out there. So you ask Akresisapon to go there to be the head of NACO. What do you think will be?
But the NDC says that they've done a lot in fighting these drug-related crimes. For instance, the late president, may his soul rest in perfect peace, John Evans Atamils, professor, submitted himself to a check at the Caucus International Airport. And they say that was one of the ways in which they were proving they were doing anything.
That cosmetic exercise, did it even make sense? No sooner had he done that, less than a month or 2, some of his ministers went there and they refused to be, checked. Have you forgotten that story? Ghanaian Times carried that story. And is it because, you see, they knew what they were doing. That was why they sent that Solomon guy over there. Oh, you just search me. And interestingly, before this man, our ex-president, Menace, did that, Ayariga had already taken his luggage abroad. His luggage had already got to where they were going, to his destination. So what were they telling us? Was it enough? You see, when it comes to this kind of issue, we tell you that if not, we didn't do anything at all, at least the Operation Westbridge, for 25 years and over, the NDC has been in power. They should tell us just one single thing that they've been able to do to fight against it. It's just like corruption. I'm always proud that I'm part of MPP. At least when we came, we really inherited a whole lot of things. We said, no, we are not going to do that. We brought some kind of legislative instruments. And in addition, our president, ex-president, George Okum Kufuor, subjected African Review Mechanism. You've forgotten that. He was the first, not one of the first. He was the first. So many things that we have. But sometimes I wonder whether we are afraid or what.
Okay. Now, the NDC is saying that we should not link Solomon Adelakwe to them because he's not one of their own.
My brother, when these people really launched their Heroes Fund, he was the one who really donated the highest amount, the biggest amount.
It's on record.
Just to give money to the youth. Most of them who are so desperate, don't have any better future. Instead of giving the money to keep them in business, instead of giving the money to send them to school, instead of giving them the money to really assist them in trading, learning some kind of trading or apprenticeship, they were rather giving the money to them, inciting them, like what was happening at Ododio, at Sankwari, and all over the place. That was what they were doing. This man we are talking about, he was the one who donated the highest amount. In addition, in 2012 election, he donated more cars to them. And you see, the other time, I listened to Bevrolate. And he was in Sheffield at all. He was saying that they didn't do any proper check. How can we trust our safety in the hands of such reckless elements? You are entrusting a whole national airport to someone's hand. And you say, we didn't do any background check. And yet this man will just go out there and then witch hunting people. By their fruits you shall know them.
Yeah.
We have so many of them. And my brother, interestingly, I told you in 1999, three issues came out. 2 from the NDC's ministers. That Ghana was number 1. 1 from the US report. Contrarily, in 2008, the European Union bailed us out. Ghanaian Times carried that story. Then in 2012, when the outgoing US ambassador,
Donald Tetelbaum.
Now, that was August 23rd, 2012. Listen to what he said. Well, you can read it better because your eyes are better. Okay. My eyes are virtually fading. You read it.
The story is by Raphael Adingeran, and it says that the outgoing U.S. ambassador Donald G. Tetelbaum has made a startling revelation that narcotic drug trade and its use is rather on the increase in Ghana, despite the tough push put up by the Narcotic Control Board in the fight against the menace. Yes. I repeat that the outgoing U.S. ambassador Donald G. Tetelbaum has made a startling revelation that the narcotic trade and its use is rather on the increase in Ghana, despite the tough push put up by the Narcotics Control Board in the fight against the menace. So was that just a cosmetic act? Again, you can join us in this discussion by calling 030-2211. You can join us in this discussion by calling 030-2211-70124. I'll repeat as I usually do. 030-2211-70124. And the text lines are 1760 all networks. I repeat that, 1760 all networks. Now coming to you, Mr. Adomakubefi, let's link this up. You see, I get increasingly worried about the linkages of the NDC with highly questionable characters. Yeah. You remember the story of Prosper Tao Chikata,
yes,
who was a 419 agent who was also linked heavily with the NDC, among various other things. Now, do we have a cause to worry when increasingly one political party is linked to very, very negative elements in the Ghanaian society?
Yes, you have a cause to worry. But for that, I don't think NDC will be in existence. Anyone who really have this country at heart and give a second thought before joining the party will not just jump into that bandwagon. Why am I saying so? Because looking at MPP's philosophy, looking at our tradition, looking at our legacy, and look at the sort of people within the party, even the food soldiers. Let us compare the NDC and the MPP. And again, you realize that they are very thoughtful, they are very enterprising, and they know what they are doing. And for that matter, you realize that some of these people in the NDC, I'm not saying all, at least some of them for one reason or other. I even understand that there are some of them out there because of tribal reasons they will join NDC. No problem. But the lion's share of them, they are the do-well. Those who have been rejected by their families, and then they go there.
We would want to interrogate that at a later position. But here, take a look at this. Now, you see, talking about questionable characters being involved at the very high level of the NDC. Minister named in CP's 94 million euro fraud. A minister has been named. I have a caller on the line anyway. Hello, welcome, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Nana.
Yeah, good evening. How are you doing?
Postman Konkon Nava, caller from Zongo.
You have the floor.
Yeah, I want to contribute more. Today, cocaine, we have cocaine, there are cocaine everywhere. This is NDC for you. Yeah, we'll talk about cocaine, material cocaine. They've aligned themselves with target securities at the airport, allowing the cocaine to leave this country to US and other countries. And God, because God is so wonderful, they have arrested in the US and other in Europe. So we thank God. Cocaine today, this is a cocaine party. But let me just make some two issues about this cocaine thing. You know, NDC. We're talking about narcotics. From 1993 to 1999, more than 350 cases of drugs, narcotics, weed, and other things happened in this country. When we took over, there was this complaint about cocaine, but we were able to.
Okay, thank you very much for your call. I have Ochi on the line. Ochi, how are you doing? Oh, unfortunately, I think I've lost Ochi on the line, but you can still join us on 030-2211-70124. as usual, 0302211701324 on Minority Caucus. We encourage all shades of opinion, even if you do not necessarily join in what we are saying. Make your opinions known. If you have any questions as well, you might bring them on board and we'll answer them. Now, coming back to this particular issue of NDC and its very questionable, leadership. You remember that in this particular case as well, there was a minister who was a deputy minister then, who was allegedly calling other ministers and asking for payments to be made. I'm referring to Mr. Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, who was involved in this isophoton scandal, calling other people. And then when you look at Mr. Ebo Batino as well was also mentioned in the scandals. Various people who hold very responsible position in the NDC have all turned out to have people who have a lot of scandals embroiling them. What's going on?
Yes. You see, I have this statistics. Let me also review it. Akresi Sapon himself, and it was carried by Daily Graphic Monday 23rd, 2011. Drug abuse cases up. The Narcotic Control Board has indicated that cases of the abuse of drugs such as cocaine, heroin, cannabis, and alcohol has increased in the country. The statistics, we have it here. It said there were 145 cases in 2003 compared to 767 cases in 2010, an average percentage of 61% annually. Okay. Under NDC, Akresi Sapon, the only thing he could do was to report this. What mechanism, what structures have they been able to put in place to forestall this nasty occurrence? They have not done anything of the sort. And then back to your question, birds of a feather, they fly together. Right from the onset, looking at the tradition of the party, looking at where they've traveled, it was built on envy, on murder, on corruption, everything that you can think of negative. And for that matter, no one, looking at the center, what really brings them together, obviously such people are going to mean the same thing. But still, I would say that at least not all of them. You might have one or two people who are good, but for such one or two reasons, they also go there.
Okay. Now let's try to address the particular matter of what it is that Ghana has to do to rid itself of this evil. I think that first of all we have to be much more transparent to the people of Ghana. Government will have to report to the people of Ghana exactly what is going on, because if you seek to hide it as they have done and telling us that nothing is happening, according to the NDC manifesto, page 66, in the past 4 years, the Narcotics Control Board has ensured that Ghana does not become a subsidiary of drug cartels as promised in our 2008 manifesto. Various reports by international drug enforcement agencies indicate a significant decline in drug trafficking from Ghana. You see, now look at this point critically. Let's interrogate this. Various reports by international drug enforcement agencies indicate a significant decline in drug trafficking from Ghana. This is what the NDC manifesto says. And then another report by the outgoing U.S. ambassador says that, the outgoing U.S. ambassador, Donald G. Tuttlebom, has made a startling revelation. The narcotic drug trade and use is rather on the increase. If we have a system where the government goes about deliberately lying to the people of Ghana that narcotic trade is on the decrease, when actually those bodies that are able to regulate and mandate these things is telling us that it is going up, then what do we have? Government must be transparent with all of us and tell us the problems as they are. Moving on, one of the things they also have to do is that let's employ reliable security agencies. Let's employ security men and security agencies that are actually up to the task to be able to do what has to be done to bring this under control. I don't want to be searched like a criminal when I get to the airport of any other country. I think that's unfair. I don't know what Adumaku Befi would have to say on that.
Yes, my brother. You see, under this government, you recall this same man, Solomon, a couple of weeks ago, the gold issue, he was also involved. The gold issue. Yeah, the gold he was to also. Yeah. You what?
The gold to Turkey.
To Turkey. He was also involved.
And exactly what has happened to that issue. It's all become and this is another line of interesting revelations that were coming up. It looks as though under the John Mahama administration, anytime an issue comes up, they tell us that we've set up an investigation to investigate it, and that's the end of the matter. We hardly hear anything about a matter once an investigation is instituted. What is going on, Mr. President? Lukman, welcome.
Yeah, good evening, Nana.
Good evening, Chief.
We thank you very much. I can see that we are heading towards victory. because and then let me say very big thank you to the gentleman in your studio,
Mr. Adomako Befi.
Well. We like those people in MPP, and we much for exposing this corrupt government. So please, we like this kind of people. You should try your best and be bringing them to the program so that they'll be educating us. We know the reason why this NDC government put those security men in the airport. We know, because they were claiming that MPP were cocaine parties. I don't know whether they will come out clearly to tell Ghanaians that now NDC is a cocaine party. So, Nana, thank you very much for bringing this intelligent young man to the program. We thank you very much.
Thank you too very much. I have a Dukro, on the line. Dukro, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, by the grace of God. Greetings to my very good friend, Adomako Befi. Nana, you have made my day. The two of you, you have made my day. So all these things happened in the time of the NDC. And they have the guts to tell Ghanaians that MPP, the acronym for MPP is Narcotic Peddling Party.
I wonder what Haruna Idrisu would say now.
It's not a safe place. This world is not a safe place. Look, I can't foresee how a party so deep, that has gone deep into drug trafficking, can have the guts to call MPP people the few incidents of drug cases that appeared in the NDC era, to tell them that these are the narcotic people. My goodness, NDC should back ahead. I don't think today, if elections are being held today, they will have even the courage to talk about drugs again.
Thank you very much for your opinions. We have Gabriel on the line. Gabriel, how are you doing? Oh, unfortunately, the line has dropped and I've lost Gabriel on the line. I think I have just about enough time for 3 or 4, just 2 more callers, and so you can call us on 030-2211-701324. I'll repeat it, 030-2211-701324. Mr. Adomako Befi, we're on the line of questionable characters always finding themselves within the NDC.
Yeah. On the issue of transparency, you see, when we came in, we assumed power in 2001. We didn't just say that we were transparent. There were certain steps we really took that really portrayed and showed to everybody that we were really transparent. But then I'll also say that sometimes our silence compromised the transparency we want from the people. All these revelations we've made this evening, you realize that they are very penetrating. But because we kept quiet in those days, these people, they really had their field day, and they repeatedly really drummed it, and people bought, and people just accepted it, that it was true. But then I tell you that if you also break our silence, and then you also visit or revisit history or assume the past, people will get to know of what is happening. So the transparency, we know these people. You are preaching to the sort of people, unrepentant sinners. They are not ready to show any transparency. Is it about administration? Is it about energy? Is it about economy? Where are you really expecting that these people are going to portray some kind of transparency as you are looking for? But it behoves on you and I to really, whatever we see, we don't compromise. But sometimes there are some people who enter politics with their tummy, and then they are compromised with the stipend or the widow's money they are giving. But then if you decide that because we are dying for Ghana, we are not accepting anything, my brother, NDC will not have anywhere to stand. But our silence, in a way, is also really glorifying their corrupt attitude.
Okay. All right. Now, tonight it's been very interesting. It's been very exposing. Anytime anybody comes to you to tell you any set of contrary facts, please ask him for his proof. We have endeavored to show you what the true picture is. Those who speak, ask them for their proof, because it is a man of conviction who will endeavor to show you where really he is getting his facts from. My name is Nana Kofi Opondamo. I've been in the studios with Mr. Adomako Befi, a member of the MPP communications team. And for tonight, take these good words upon your heart and stand firm in your conviction. We believe that the battle is the Lord's. Good evening.